Bring them from the yard. What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Now let's go ahead and unmute the panel. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The Rum fam. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Let Admiral Robbie J's in the house, joined by the most wonderful, hardest working cast, the hardest working staff in the whole entire sports podcast industry. Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, Rumboyz Northeast, Butcher's Block? We got JD, Rumboyz Central in the building. We got the local resident fanalist in the house, Nick Howard. Both the members from the clock management team here, Perry and Justin. How you fellas doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing fantastic. Got a beer going, so.
Yup, I feel it. I dig it. Gentlemen, before we get into it, cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. All the Rumboyz and girls what they do. Dilly. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Let's do this. JD?
All right, guys. Well, welcome to Rumboyz After Dark, the Drunken Sports Talk show where you rate us in the comments. Rate our takes, and throughout the show, we're going to be asking you to give us your fantasy football questions. I will document them and keep them for the 20-minute rapid-fire fantasy football questionnaire.
Oh, JD, your internet's doing it.
Internet doing something?
Yup.
I will fix it.
There you go. All right, now do your speech.
All right, so Thursday Night Football ended with the Texans holding on to a victory over the Colts in impressive defense. Watson ran an option towards the end of the game and got the ball knocked loose by Darius Leonard, Colts defensive end. He said he forced the ball and he recovered it. Leonard said that. Do you think it was a fumble? And talk about how good the Texans can be this year, Bobby.
And Bobby's game is starting. Bobby's calling the Celtics game. I don't know why he did that. Okay, so the question be it that surrounding the fumble by the Houston Texans last night.
Yeah, you think it was one?
So yes, first off, it was one. Second off, it doesn't matter. The Texans won. It is what it is. And everyone just has to shut up and not cry and not worry about it. More importantly, what we need to be talking about is the fact that the Texans are now have 74% stranglehold over the AFC South. I think that's more worthy and more impressive to talk about versus the fumble. It's done. It's over with. It is what it is. Ball's out before your knees are on the ground. Elbow touches. These are the rules. Like I explained with Raj on our show, yesterday before that game. It's you can't sit on the ball and talk about it's a fumble or I secured the fumble. Your ass does not secure the fumble. No other extremity but your hands being wrapped around that ball secures that fumble. So rules are rules.
Nick Howard, your thoughts on the situation and the Texans' success?
I think they've been playing really well. Finally, we saw a nuke emergence. He finally showed up to play. It had two tutties, looked real good, two deep balls. But I had the Colts, even with Brissett, even before Luck retired.
Nick, your internet. Now you're breaking.
Oh, my bad.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
just
my
me.
bad.
Keep going, Nick. If you
All right,
can.
I'm good. All right, yeah. I even thought before Luck retired and knowing that Brissett was going to be the guy, I thought it would be the Colts division to lose. And I can honestly see before the season started, maybe 3 teams coming out of that, like the division winner and 2 wild cards. But it's not how it's going to pan out, I guess. But yeah, the Texans, they're looking really good.
Perry, your thoughts on the Texans and the fumble situation?
First of all, it was absolutely a fumble. Whether or not it was recovered is the real question, but it was absolutely a fumble. It's reported that Deshaun Watson even said it on the field right after it happened that, that was a fumble. So the question is whether or not he actually recovered it. And I'm not sure the answer to that one. I think Robbie answered that one pretty well. But the Texans, they look really good. I think they need Will Fuller healthy. I don't like Will Fuller for fantasy because you just can't predict when he's going to do it. But they need Will Fuller on the field if they want to be a successful football team. And it's obvious that everybody on that team plays better when he's the deep threat there. So, yeah, I think if he stays healthy, they'll continue to win.
He's been pretty good on my fantasy team sometimes. Justin, what do you think of the Deshaun or the fumble situation?
I mean, it was an obvious fumble with no clear recovery, so the offense keeps the ball. That's how it is. In all the replays, you can see who had the ball possession first. He may have, he may not have. Refs made the right call. It sucks for them. He did cause a fumble. It's too bad you didn't get it. I'm pretty sure DeAndre Hopkins had such a big game because we're giving away the DeAndre Hopkins jersey. Someone told him, and he decided, I'm going to throw up 2 touchdowns for you guys, help get the momentum going on that. So I appreciate that.
Shameless.
I like the plug.
Had to have been that, for sure. Justin, sticking with you, how important is George Kittle to your Niners?
Oh, my God. So I think it's twofold. He's very important to them, as you can tell watching the last 2 weeks. But I think equally important is Emmanuel Sanders. He also has been out the last 2 weeks with being injured. I think they just need a number 1 pass catcher. Debo is great there. He reminds me of Juju when Antonio Brown was there. He's a great second option, but he's not ready to be that number 1 wide receiver.
Good answer. Perry, same question. How important is Kittle to the Niners?
He's extremely important. Like Justin said, we've been talking all season about the fact that the Niners don't have a number 1 receiver. They have a number 1 tight end, and he therefore is the number 1 receiver on the team, right? They can't run the ball without Kittle on the field. He's a really good blocking tight end. He also draws so many defenders outside of the box. So it's really important. If he isn't healthy, I think their chances of making it to the NFC Championship game are pretty slim, to be honest with you.
I agree with you 100% on that. I love Kittle as an Iowa guy. Nick Howard, talk about Kittle and his impact on the Niners' success this season.
Yeah, without Kittle, they're a little stagnant. And even like looking at him before the season started, I really thought you would see an emergence and a good year from a guy like Pettis, but he's not really performed. They got a stud backfield, but yeah, without having Kittle out there to block, it seems like they're kind of like he's a good extra help on either tackle in the run game or for pull blocking or lead blocking upfield. So yeah, without him, they're kind of in limbo in their offense, limited options, and Sanders being out too. In my opinion, Garoppolo is a complimentary piece. He's not that type of quarterback that's just gonna like do some Mahomes, Wilson, Aaron Rodgers like shit and kind of like make other guys like decent. He needs to have those weapons around him for him to function right.
That's exactly right. Sorry.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question about this, but I want to hear Robbie's take first. Take it away, buddy.
So what I'm gonna say is Kittle. So you definitely notice a decline, in how the 49ers offense works. I mean, you can't really notice it due to their amazing record. Shout out to you, Justin. Daily to you, partner. But you can tell that, the blocking's not the same. Dwelly's not the same type of tight end as Kittle. You can tell they're definitely running, tight end too when you're just looking at the position and singling out that and that alone. He should hopefully be coming back this weekend. I've heard mixed things and I've seen different things. So with that being said, with that being stated, I think he's important. He's an important piece. I'm excited for him to get back on the field, and plus, I need him back on the field. Kittle, let's go get a Super Bowl this year, baby, in fantasy. Let's go.
I'm loving that the clock management fans are taking shots right now. That's what's up. Hell yeah. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to you guys. That is what this show is all about. Hell yeah.
I'm about to grab shots in a minute. I'm waiting for the wife to get home.
Ooh. I will remember that fantasy question for the rapid fire. Thank you, SPFFA. I'm gonna run it back around to you guys. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Justin, who is more impactful to their team? Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, or George Kittle?
More important to their team? I think that's
let's go with that.
That's got to be Kittle. Kittle's the most important to his team. I think
Kelce's better?
I think Kelce's better. He's a better tight end, better athlete in general. I would rather have Kittle run blocking than Kelce. So I think that helps their team in that manner. But as far as fantasy goes, I would rather have Kelce. He's the better athlete and better pass catcher out of the two.
Interesting. That is very interesting. Zachariah Brown says Ertz is a better blocker. We got a lot of division in the chat. I like it. Perry, what's your thoughts on who'd you rather have between those three?
Man, I think I'd rather have Kelce, but it's close. It's closer than.
Who's your number two, Perry?
I think my number two is probably Kittle, but it's very close with Ertz. I think Ertz is actually kind of underrated as a pass blocker. I think that's really where he made his money. He's only really emerged as this really big wide receiver or this receiving threat in the recent years. So I guess it would go Kelce, Kittle, Ertz, but it's actually really close. But for fantasy, it's definitely Kelce.
Yeah, and plus Kittle made his WWE debut, so that's got to put him up a couple notches on there,
Got to give him some points, huh?
It counts.
Nick Howard, who would you take in the ranking order 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I agree with the clock management guys. I'm especially with Justin. I think most valuable to his team is Kittle, but if you told me that I can only have one, I'm going to go with Kelce just because of the threat that he is in other areas of the game. But, yeah, I'm with Perry that he's, like, right there for me. Kittle's, like, right there to close second. And Ertz is third. And I would even throw some other guys in there because if we're looking at it as, like, actual football and taking in fantasy into this season so far, the tight end position has kind of been – like limited, like you haven't seen guys that you thought would be like putting up studly numbers, so they're putting up numbers, and even in fantasy, like some surprise guys have came out of nowhere and in the top 5. Like I know I'm going to have my Raider bias with this, but I'd throw a guy like Waller in the top 5, like just off of production alone and how crucial he is to that offense. But yeah, I totally agree with the clock management guys.
It'd be interesting seeing how good Lamar Jackson would be doing this year if he didn't have Mark Andrews as well. I think it's somebody to talk about.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is playing some ball right now.
Yeah.
So,
take it away, Robbie.
Oh,
you came in so nicely. I didn't interrupt you.
No, it keeps doing like weird things, so I can't tell like when someone's done or not. Like it's just being weird on my end, so I'm just rolling the punches here. So in regards to like who I could have, if I could have one. I just want to say, not only shout out Stephon Warren, but also shout out me because I also have preached it very, very heavily.
Are you allowed to do a shout out to yourself? It's like a shout in.
Listen. I pat on the bed back. Mark Andrews is a guy that we have not brought up. I haven't heard anyone on this panel bring up Mark Andrews. And that is a guy that I am rolling with all the way to my fantasy Super Bowl in as many leagues as I possibly can.
Me too.
Now, yes, when Kittle is healthy, love having Kittle. Kelsey, whenever Mahomes is healthy, awesome. But the person that has stood out to me the most at the tight end position, in fantasy and also, just sitting back watching film in real football, we got to throw Mark Andrews in this conversation. It's got to be.
I think Perry mentioned it, but yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Okay.
He's up there for sure. SPFFA says most valuable to the team, 1,000% Ertz with no hand Aguilar, Jeffrey. Not so everyone's got a different opinion in the chat. I like that. Let's move on to the next topic for this one. But I like all of you guys giving me your list. Gymnastics giving a list. So hell yeah. All right, next topic, and we're going to start with Robbie. The Cleveland Browns are now 2-0 in the last 2 games. Baker Mayfield threw 12 interceptions the first 7 games, but he hasn't thrown any of the last 2, and he's got 4 touchdowns. And the Browns are winning. Is Baker learning on the job, or is he just inconsistent? What's going on here?
And you want me to go first?
Yeah, Robbie.
Okay. Baker they're playing for desperation wins right now because they want to make it into the playoffs so bad so they can prove everyone was so wrong. But they have played so bad this year that I don't think even if they do get in, that it'll erase that history.
Think Baker's a bust at all? Or
I don't think Baker is a bust because I'm the same person that on Twitter about a month ago stated I want old Baker back. I want last year, I'm swagging, I'm feeling good. Give me that Baker back. So I'm not going to say that he's a bust because that would then refute that tweet. I don't want to say he's learning on the job because he knows what he has to do. You just got to get the hell out there and you got to do it. It's more so on the coaching that anyone could even be able to develop, I feel, in my opinion, a take as to him even being somewhere near a bust. I have not been impressed with Freddie Kitchens. I've said that multiple times on this show before in the past. It is what it is. I don't feel like Baker's learned on the job, but they're playing for desperation wins. And if Baker, you can put it on your back and you can stay dangerous, then get out there and stay dangerous.
Stay dangerous. Nick Howard, tell me about your guy. What's going on here?
You guys know I'm a Browns fan. I'm going to say, man, I believe in Baker. I don't think in any way, shape, or form he's a bust. I actually think he's a stud. The whole team, himself, Kitchens, we've all been going through growing pains, man. It's like we're regrowing teeth. They got to get chemistry together. Like you see after a couple weeks of them playing together, it looked awkward the first couple weeks, but there's been guys that have still been steady contributors. Like nobody's talking about it because of what happened on Thursday night, but Chubb hit 1,000 yards. Jarvis Landry broke the record for, I think, 530 catches in his first 6 years or something like that. Or might even 630. I forget the exact statistic. I saw it earlier. But other guys are contributing, and the defense is coming around. They had a 4-interception game last week. I think it's just growing pains. I think it's just they gotta get in the drawing board. They gotta go through their game plan, and they gotta get used to playing with each other and build chemistry. But I do put a lot of it on Freddie Kitchens and the O-line. A lot of it.
A lot of good points being made by Nick Howard in the chat here. Definitely, you guys are hitting it on the head. What do you think about this situation in Cleveland, Perry? You think Baker's the guy moving forward?
You just mentioned the chat. Jake Miller just pointed out that Baker will probably have 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years, which that sucks. That sucks for Baker. I do think that Baker is probably a good quarterback. There's a good quarterback somewhere in there. Has he been a good quarterback this season? Not really. I don't think so. Is he learning on the job? No, because he's already shown that he knows how to do it. For me, it looks like that he's trying to work in a system that doesn't work for him. And whether that's Freddie Kitchens or it's the offensive coordinator, something's got to change there. I think the whole culture of the team is struggling. It's not all on Baker. It's not fair to put it all on Baker, but has he been good? No. Is he the reason that they've won games? Not really. I put that more on Nick Chubb personally in the offensive line. But
Right on. I like that one. And by the way, Jim, we will get to your question. We're going to do a rapid fire Q&A at the very end of the show. So stick with us the whole time. Justin, give me your opinion on the Cleveland Browns.
They aren't good. I'm sorry, Nick. I think most of this is on Freddie Kitchens. They're playing without a coach, and that's not a good way to win football games.
right.
Baker's a young quarterback. He's got a lot to learn. People were overhyping him, I think, and not going off of where he actually is. And you could see his frustration at every interview he does. They have had some good weeks the last couple weeks, but they've been playing bad teams. The good teams they have played have just embarrassed them. I don't think that they're real contenders for a Super Bowl this year. But I don't think he's a bust as far as like the NFL goes. He's a good quarterback. He's just young. And it would be awesome if he had a good coach and a good offensive coordinator there. He doesn't have those, so I don't foresee that changing in the near future. Hopefully they can fix those things and develop him because he is a talent.
Yeah.
I like it. Nick, did you want to expand on that point that you made in the chat? And also, I really like what Jake Miller said, that the QB he takes most of the blame in the media. I think Baker kind of put a target on himself too, but finish that point. What were you saying, Robbie?
I'm the only person, I consider all of us podcasters, members of the media. I'm the only person that, like I said, per my tweet a month ago, that I feel has defended Baker and has stated, we need to bring the old Baker back. I have laid off, I don't even make Baker jokes. I just want the old guy back. So I mean, I agree with Jake.
You don't want that low-hanging fruit to make the Baker jokes?
I let it go, bro. I let it go. It became too easy. And I was like, this is like bullying at this point.
And a Browns fan and feeling that I think we have our best quarterback since Bernie days. And knowing how Baker is, by all means, I encourage the shit talk. I think it motivates him. So by all means, he and all Cleveland, we want the smoke, man.
Yeah, I just like that you think he's listening to what I'm saying.
They do. Listen, here's the thing. They absolutely positively do.
Yeah.
I know this firsthand.
If I were a Browns fan, I would be excited right now. I'll put it that way.
No, like I said, I think he's extremely talented. His coaching staff around him is not good. And
it's bad.
And that in return, you're not going to see him developing as a quarterback. So, I mean, that makes sense to me that he's not playing good with a bad coaching staff.
Yeah, but I even think that with that kind of like handicap, that he'll still do some good things. Like last year, breaking the touchdown record. Like he's shown some flashes, even with being handicapped and stuck with.
Absolutely.
That. And if I can make a point on what I said in the chat, I totally do not like Todd Monken at all. And I agree with that we will have 3 offensive coordinators. I hope not, but I could see it because his play call, it looks like a high school football offense sometimes. Bubble screens, tunnel screens, and only running up the middle. It just I just don't like it. Half of the time I'm just like, come on, we couldn't go for a slant. You got Odell, he could take the top off. You got Landry who catches all the stuff in the soft zone, send them just over in an in or an out route. Maybe have a rub, a flood with an in route coming in, like something. And you're going to get Njoku back. So I think that there's Baker's going to have his pick, where he wants to place the ball. And I, like a lot of other Browns fans, and the play call is kind of starting to frustrate me. I want to see Baker go out there, and if he sees something in the defense, to change the play, run the play, and make a play. And then when he comes off the field on the sideline, and Kitchens or Monken is like, "What are you doing? What we called this?" Be like, "Hey, I saw this, and it worked, didn't it?" I want to see that Baker.
I like that. Karam said Kitchen should be gone, and Zach Brown said Baker should be gone. How do you feel about that, Nick Howard?
Baker should not be gone. He's the
I
best
agree with that.
in 30 years, man. I do not want to be every year going.
Keep
The
Baker.
draft is our Super Bowl. I'm tired of that. We finally got our guy.
That's
Exactly. Yeah.
Sending Baker away is crazy.
Would you get rid of
Crazy.
Kitchens?
Yes.
I was defending the year because I know he doesn't have head coaching experience. He doesn't even have play calling really experience, but 23 something years of coaching, college, high school, and pro. Like he's seen a lot of guys. He's a player's coach. I think that another player's coach that I think hasn't really worked out well, and a guy that kind of got his success off of the former coach is Mike Tomlin. He's a player's coach, and you could argue in the past 5 years that, like, character wise, like just what goes on day to day in that organization, that he's kind of lost some of the members of the team. And
You're saying he would switch teams?
I strongly believe that Bill Cowher developed and laid out the talent, and Tomlin just came in there and had success and ran with it and just kept it going day to day, kept it status quo. He didn't really take that team beyond what it was, and now they're starting to regress and slide a little bit. But
would you take a Mike McCarthy over Freddie Kitchens?
I would take Mike McCarthy's play call over Freddie Kitchens, but I know Mike McCarthy, he's kind of like the Gentle John type guy, but he does have a history of being kind of shady to his players. So I don't know if I really want that. We saw that with Hugh Jackson. He would, I'm your buddy, I'm your friend, tell me whatever, and then I'll throw you under the bus in the press conference, and I don't want something like that. Because of the beef, with him and Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line, defensive line, when they couldn't get pressure last year, and he was coaching for his job. But I would like his play call because he brings a fresh perspective that you don't really see. He's really creative with his play call, but I think Freddie is too. I think it's just the team's trying to build chemistry, man. You had Landry, OBJ, Njoku all sitting out of camp. You didn't know who your right guard was going to be.
Not an identity yet.
Yeah, you didn't know your right guard was going to be till week 4 of the preseason. So I don't know. I think they need time. They need to build chemistry. I'm not ready to give up on Freddie yet, but I blame him for a lot of what's going on.
Sorry, just to add one last thing here.
Yeah.
I personally believe that had people not been trying to crown the Browns as Super Bowl contenders all season, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? So
yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
the expectations ruined.
Right.
You're right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a good point, Perry. That's a really good point. You got any last points on this, Robbie or Justin?
No.
Move on to the next one.
Nick, he let his heart out there.
Yeah, man.
Nick, I know. I want to how for that.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry I was so harsh on him.
That was a highlight.
Beautiful, man.
Beautiful.
You're a Niners fan. You guys fucking boat raced us earlier this year, so I ain't even mad at it. If we won like that, I'd be saying shit about Garoppolo. So
that was
You still can. Garoppolo's not that good.
yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like I said earlier. Here's a complimentary piece. It is what it is. You gotta not be biased. You gotta be rational, and you gotta really pick through what you're dealing with. Get a perspective of what you're talking about. Or even in my teams, I always try to get a perspective with it. But I'm honestly happy the state that we're at, even though didn't start the year out right. Freddie Kitchens is still up in the air, but I'm hopeful, man. It's not hype train, it's the hope train. And we're the best squad that we've had in 30 years, so I'm cool.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm a little bit harsh on them just because from a fantasy perspective, so many of their offensive players were so hyped. I when I was looking at this during the offseason, I was I just don't see any sort of way that all of these players could be as high as they are in all of this draft. If this is the case, then Baker Mayfield is MVP already before the season starts.
Right, and they got rid of their O lineman too.
Yeah.
Losing Zayla is big.
So it just didn't make
That was
sense
big.
to me. So I've been kind of a naysayer of the Browns since before the season started. But I do think he's a good quarterback, and as a team, they're not a bad team. They have a ton of talent. I kind of root for them secretly. Just don't tell anyone.
I appreciate that, man. We got room on the wagon for you, bro.
All right, Justin, I have another question for you. A lot of people, including our own Rumboyz family, Karam Mawani, or R. Koo in the chat. He thinks that Jason Garrett and this entire Cowboys staff is holding these talented players back, and that the loss to the Vikings was inexcusable. The Cowboys faced the Patriots trying to become 7-4, not 6-5. How big of a game is this, Justin?
I mean, it's a huge game. It's very important for the Cowboys. They're not going to win, so that's depressing. But it's very important for them. So
you hear that, Karan? Hope he's in the chat still.
No, like you said, they struggle against the Vikings. They struggle against a lot of these teams that they shouldn't be. So, I mean, why should we expect them to not struggle against the best defense in the NFL right now? It's just not going to happen.
That's a good point. What do you think about that one, Perry? You think they have a chance?
It's
the coaching staff's fault?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's the coaching staff's fault. I don't know how Jason Garrett still has a job, to be completely honest with you. But the amount of money that's spent to get these incredibly talented players and to basically do nothing with it year after year after year.
Thanks.
Yeah, Jason Garrett should have been fired years ago. Do they win this week? Probably not. It'll be a low-scoring, close game, but I still think the Patriots probably win. If Tom Brady plays, he's officially questionable.
To quote Bill Belichick, do your job. Their coaching staff is not.
Yeah.
And they need to if they want to make the playoffs. The Eagles are right on their heels. What do you think about this one, Nick Howard? Do you think the Cowboys have a chance against the Patriots, and whose fault is the loss to the Vikings?
It's tough to say whose fault the loss because I think Dak has actually played pretty well. By all means, I think he's earned that money. Zeke has kind of fell off. Like, he hasn't been able to get the run game going. Like, we looked at that offense last year, and we're like, you could put anybody back there. Like, you could put a 7th-round undrafted, no-name guy back there, and he would still get you like 60 and maybe a tutty in a game.
You could put Eddie Lacy back there.
Oh, he's Murder Lacy.
Forgot about him.
I don't know about the Vikings loss in general. I think that Garrett has lost the team, but to me, it's not a Garrett problem. It's a partial Jerry Jones problem. And like looking back on, I don't think he's gonna fire him. Like, just because, like, looking back, I don't understand how he's fired Tom Landry, Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, like, and you keep Jason Garrett for as mediocre and as long as you've been.
The reason that he's kept Jason Garrett is because Jason Garrett's a puppet and he'll do whatever Jerry Jones says.
Yeah.
He doesn't own that locker room at all. Not even close.
But it's Jerry's team. If he would coach, like, I kind of like have a little affinity and respect for Jerry Jones. Like, I think he's a character, but you guys know I'm a Raiders fan, so like when I see him, he makes me think of Al Davis, because Al Davis was wanted to be involved in everything. He was like, he went at the league. He kind of like went rogue, did his own thing. He like coached, GM, owner, like so I see a little bit of Jerry Jones, like, or him in Jerry Jones, but I just don't understand how you keep that guy and you've gotten rid of some great head coaches, and Garrett is just still just floated on by mediocre, and just they have the most talent I think that they've had since the 90s, since the Jimmy Johnson days, and they're going to squander a lot of talent.
Definitely since like the DeMarco Murray, Romo age, definitely at least on that part. Robbie, what do you think about the Cowboys against the Patriots?
So with the Cowboys and Patriots, one, I can't wait for this game to be done and over with, because I am sick and tired of hearing Bobby this fucking week. It's hate week. It's Cowboys hate week. Hate week. I'm like, yo. I'm like, we get it. Like, two teams that America fucking hates are going against each other. You're the only one that, like, Patriots fans and Cowboys fans are the only ones that are excited for this. And they're the only ones in the universe that are taking it as serious.
But both of them believe everyone is excited for this.
Yeah, they think they think that everyone's like, no, like everyone really wishes that both of you could both like lose. Like, can we get a tie in this scenario? But that's not going to happen. We know that
tie.
What's up?
A 0-0 tie.
Yeah, 0-0.
Dude, that'd be great. That'd be great. But no, man. In all seriousness, it is a huge, serious game for the Cowboys. I know there's a report that Brady's elbow is injured. He will be fine. So we're not going to see Jarrett Stidham. I would love it if we saw Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham, appreciate the interview, brother. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. But in all seriousness, though, the Cowboys are going to go out there. They're going to get smacked around like a bunch of little.
Say it.
QC says, "Fuck them both."
Say it.
Like a bunch of little bitches. I'm going to just say it, bro.
This is Rumboyz After Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to
down,
Bro,
going back to my Eddie Lacy reference, both him and Zeke, they're both still hungry because Zeke isn't eating right now.
Damn.
His plate is empty, man.
Where's Karam? I want to hear Karam in the chat. I saw him earlier. Where you at, bro? Show yourself. All right.
Zeke looks like he's water fasting. He ain't eating.
Well, he got paid and now he's not playing that well. That's not good for other running backs. That's not good.
No. Ask Melvin Gordon how good that is.
That's bad for Melvin Gordon. That's like a slap for Melvin Gordon.
Zeke is eating a bowl of fucking L's. That's the only thing that Zeke is eating.
That's not good.
And shout out to what Justin said. Is it just me? While we're on the subject of Zeke, and he mentioned Eddie Lacy. Does it look like he's kind of like getting a little out of shape or like packing on a little weight in like areas that you don't want to have as a running back?
Listen, I'm going to state this, okay? Once upon a time, all right, Robbie used to work in the EDM industry, all right? And when I saw that footage of Zeke at EDC, I automatically knew. I was like, yo, you know all the memes of Zeke and the Ewok? We're about to call him Zeke the Wook. He's bro. Zeke is one fucking Molly trip away and one from being like, fuck football. I'm telling you.
All I know is you haven't been seeing Zeke wear any crop tops lately. He's got his winter body on.
Jeez. This is getting out of hand, guys. Where's the flag? I need the flag.
Grown his hair out. He's grown his hair out and like his facial hair and everything. And it's like, bro.
Dude looks like he's living under a bridge by the river.
This is big facts.
Everyone's just hating on the Cowboys, man. Nobody's defending them in the chat either. This is a pile on.
I really like Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Let's move on. Let's just, yeah. I like Dak.
Amari he does not look homeless. So
really quick, can I just state this from a business standpoint that I feel bad for Dak? How can you go out there, put up the numbers that you do? You even make the goddamn everything's popular, okay? And can't no fucking body like pay you? Like Jerry Jones has all that money and you can't get a paycheck, bro? At least give a brother a Popeye chicken sandwich.
No, that was an audition for Magic Mike 2.
But I like
three. There's already a second one.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Don't
the
stars.
I got you, Pete. That's what we'll do. We'll talk Mitchy Biscuit. All right.
I think
that
training style, like him doing those like the hip thrusts and fucking shit like that, and like putting his hips in the throws. Like when he's preparing himself for situations that like other guys don't think of, like for when he needs to make a throw off his back foot, when he like kind of does have to just wing something in there and like flail his body and just like power a throw. And I think he's preparing himself for when he has something like that. I like that he's like taking up that like unorthodox training style. Watch, you'll see Tom Brady do it in a year or two.
Hey man, you know, if that helps, that's awesome. Like it launched a million memes, and I was just about to say QC had the best comment. Justin's manhood confirmed. He didn't know there was already a Magic Mike 2.
Shit, what does that say about me? God.
Dude, I saw it and I'm like, is this man hanging out with Shakira?
Robbie,
Don't lie.
I think Robbie's next.
Yeah.
All right, let's deal with that. A lot of Bears fans are blaming Matt Nagy. A lot of Bears fans are blaming Mitchell Trubisky for the Bears' woes. Who do you think who's to blame? And is there going to be a civil war brewing in Chicago between Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy?
It's Nagy. It's all Nagy.
It's all Nagy. Okay.
It's all Nagy. Like, listen. I mean, okay, a portion of it is Mr. Trubisky, but because he has to go out there on the field. But goddamn, the stuff that, like I've said this time and time again, whenever we talk about the Bears, when you throw out over half your playbook, like there's literally not a single piece of the offensive scheme, or like a couple pieces from the offensive scheme that are important that should be there, and they're not being utilized. This is a problem. This is a problem when the only person that the ball is literally thrown to is goddamn Robinson, and you don't even use Montgomery correctly. Nagy's the problem. He with his own goddamn two eyes, he cannot look at the roster that he has and say that this is the way that I need to use personnel A, personnel B, personnel C. He does completely ass backwards. And it's a tragedy. He was good last year. But he deviated too far. Maybe you don't fire him because of the deviation. It's like, all right, bro, you tried something different last year. Whatever you do, don't do that shit again.
Well, here's the thing. Ryan Pace drafted Trubisky, and I think Nagy is looking at Trubisky like, I didn't draft this dude, so I feel like there's a civil war brewing. What about that?
I mean, that could be potential too. That could be potential too. I mean, the NFL is a weird place. We all know how corruption and collusion works in inside this league. But with that being said, I don't feel that way at the same time. No coach deviates that far from a playbook to make themselves look that bad to throw a quarterback underneath the bus. Because in the NFL, 9 times out of 10, that just backfires on you.
I haven't liked what I've been seeing from Trubisky. He's had tunnel vision. Nick Howard, what have you been seeing from my Bears?
Bro, it's a mess. And I like the Bears. I know a lot of Bears fans. Like JD, you're my boy. Ty Boogie, Josh from Sports Fury.
What's the chat?
Two of my homies that live here in the land, one that grew up here and just his dad was a Bears fan, so he's a Bears fan, and another that moved from Chi-Town to here. So like I feel for him, and I want to and wish for the best for Mitchell Trubisky, but you got to look at it unbiasedly and with rationale and the right perspective. I want to like him going to Menor High and like living and growing up like 30 minutes away from me, but they're not using it's a combination of them not using him for his exact skill set in the right way or fashion. And it's also a combination of him not executing and like not being accountable. But I do like I said earlier about Garoppolo, it's the same thing I feel about Cousins. It's the same thing I feel about Trubisky. They're complementary pieces. You got to have weapons around them. And those weapons got to go out there and execute. They got to make big plays. They got to come down with receptions, and they're like Robbie said, they're not running Montgomery right. Like, where the hell did Tyreek Cohen go? Like, I thought he would be a great option for PPR as a running back.
Howard.
But yeah, they got rid of Jordan Howard. I thought he would get more touches and it would open up, but I don't know. You saw game one, and they got stomped. They didn't run the ball, and it was the only thing that was working. And now, like, the running isn't working, and you can't get the passing game going either. And they're not using Trubisky in the right ways. Like, he actually used to be a running option quarterback in college and high school especially. He had more rushing yards than passing yards in high school. But I just think it's a combination. It's Nagy's getting cute with play calls. The defense has still been good. They're either balling or they're bending and not breaking, and they're keeping them kind of in the game a little bit. They have had some injuries. Losing Amos was a big loss. and Callahan, in my opinion. I feel like if you would have had those two guys, that defense would have been just over the top stout. But yeah, they're not executing. It's partly the line too. I think I forgot who you guys lost, but I know you guys had Eric Kush, who we have on the Browns now. And there was a report like around week 3 that you guys were calling, asking to trade back or trade and get Kush back because you knew you could throw him in there.
It's in the guard.
Yeah, but it's just all around. Like nothing's really working besides the defense, like bending and not breaking. And with how much they're forced to be out there, they're bound to get tired and start to break down and lose their head themselves.
Exactly. If you don't get the defense off the field, how do you expect them to be elite? So, Perry, take this one away. What do my Bears need to do to get back on top?
I think it's mostly Matt Nagy. I'm kind of with Robbie on that one. I do think Mitchell Trubisky's been pretty bad considering he's in his 3rd year. I think we're beyond the point where we're like, hey, is he going to work out? I don't think we can wait that long. But I also think it's harder to find a serviceable quarterback than it is a serviceable coach. And Matt Nagy has not been anywhere near a serviceable coach. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet, to be completely honest with you. I had the Bears as an outside favorite to make it to the NFC Championship game this year, and that's not happening. Flat out, that's not happening. So if you really want to continue to rely on Mitch Trubisky and not go back to the draft to try and find another quarterback in that lottery, I think you fire Matt Nagy and get a new system in there, start running the ball more, start working on that offensive line. And that's the only way they're going to start winning games. If they want to control the clock with that defense, they got to be able to run the ball.
I 100% agree. We need to run that ball.
Yeah. They might use a little clock management. I
see what you did there.
No, Matt Nagy is no idiot. He said so himself, so he's not the problem, obviously. No, just kidding. He's the problem. He's horrible. They should be running the ball a lot more. They have great running backs there and a great defense. It reminds me of the San Francisco 49ers with their team. They should be a lot better than they are. The difference is the coaching. He's not a good coach. They need new coaching. I don't think Trubisky is good. So I want to say one of them is at fault or one of them's to blame. The coach and the quarterback are usually the two most often blamed people for losses, and both of them deserve it in this case. So I think that with a better coach, he would perform better. I still don't think with a better coach, he's going to be a top-tier quarterback, but he'd be a serviceable quarterback that could win you games.
I think he could be easily as good as Jimmy G.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's outside that right now.
I don't think he has the head that Jimmy G does. And actually, that's the thing with him. There's like
or the face.
What's that? Or
the face. I mean,
like
Jimmy G's a good-looking man.
He's calm. He's collected. He's ready to win, man. Trubisky is like frantic when he gets the ball. He's just staring down his target that he's supposed to stare down. Like he doesn't. There's no nuance to his game. Like Patrick Mahomes is like looking over like this, and then all of a sudden he just whips it.
But I think that he's actually degressed since last year, and I blame that on the coaching. It reminds me a lot of like Kaepernick after they fired Harbaugh.
Yes.
Kaepernick did great the year before that. Then they got rid of the coaching, brought in offensive lineman coach to be their head coach, and they did horrible. And Kaepernick just looked horrible that year. And then they brought in a new coach, and he improved. So I mean, I think it's similar to that.
So you think Trubisky, Zachariah Brown says Trubisky can be a system player? I don't know, man. I think he might be a bust, personally. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think he's a bust.
I don't think he's a bust. I think he needs more time. He's got a lot of pressure being the
third overall. Mark Sanchez.
My God, that's terrible.
He does.
Mark Sanchez went to an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, and then he completely fell off. It's like only Trubisky's worse than Sanchez.
He ran into a butt, dude. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, knocked him out.
You're right. What can you do after that? When you run into an ass, it's pretty much over for you.
Yeah, your career's over.
I don't think he's a bust. I don't think he's gonna carry the Bears to a Super Bowl. I think if he were like completely terrible, he'd be turning the ball over more. The fact that he only has 4 interceptions is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
But
He could pull an Eli Manning and ride his defense to a Super Bowl.
not the butt fumble. I know, man. I'm sorry.
I think
For real, you got to like Jake said earlier. You got to give the kid more time. The kid's not getting enough time right now. Give the kid more time. You got to give him his 4th year, and let's see what happens from there. Maybe this is just a down year for them. That can be possible too.
True.
Yeah. Do you guys agree with me that he's kind of like a complementary piece? He's got to be slid in. He's got to be the supplement to an offense.
Absolutely.
We're tired of that in Chicago. We've had that for literally 100 years.
You guys never get that stud QB.
It's obvious to me that what they should try and do is control the clock with that defense and run the ball. Run the ball.
Anthony Thomas says he's a bust. I'd rather watch
David Montgomery. David Montgomery should be getting like 20, 25 touches with as big as he is.
Absolutely.
Why not too? You know?
I mean, at least he looks sad about it when he loses, unlike Jay Cutler.
That's exactly what I said when somebody was like, "Do you miss Jay Cutler?" And I was like, "Hell no! At least Trubisky feels bad." Like Jay Cutler's just like, "You getting paid $20 million? Fuck y'all!" Like I don't really care.
He's like, "But I got paid though, right?"
He's like, "Check's cleared, right? All right, we're good. Fuck it, I'm going home. Go bang Tristan Cavallari or whatever."
I would take
I
Rex.
didn't know her name until he got with her.
Take Rex Burkhead. Wait, would you take?
Rex.
Oh, Rex Grossman. I was like Rex Burkhead.
Rex Grossman. I would take Rex Grossman over him.
Yeah,
Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl.
Exactly. He went all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, then he sucked after that for the rest of his career, but at least we got there. So, all right, Justin, my guy, is this? Let's do like one more football question. Let's move on to basketball.
Real quick though, would you rather have Josh Johnson?
Josh,
Yeah, the XFL just signed him, so he's probably willing to come there if you want him.
Anthony Thomas called it. Pick up Cam. Wait till next year. Cam's fully healthy. Second Super Bowl run with Cam. Let's go, baby.
No, you don't want Cam. You'll get a halfway to a Super Bowl run, and then he's out for the season.
No, come on. Cam.
What's the next question?
All right,
sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
No, y'all good.
Who's your MVP so far, Justin?
Oh, I mean,
do you not like that one, Roger?
I think I got to go with Booger McFarland on this one and go with Michael Thomas. No, I'm just kidding. It's Lamar Jackson.
I think we answered this last time. Can we go fantasy MVP? Who's your fantasy MVP?
Oh, CMC.
Sure.
So if I'm going like just overall value, I'm going CMC. If I'm going like value in the draft, I think I'm going Dalvin Cook.
Okay, and that's who you got shares of. Those are your guys that you have on your teams.
I have him on a team.
Okay.
I actually have both of them on one team.
Holy shit!
Wow.
That's a team.
Yeah, it's a great team.
Would we rather have Johnny
Travis Kelce as my tight end? So
I'm with it.
MVP.
Fantasy MVP it's got to be Christian McCaffrey. It's crazy to pick anybody else. On my team personally, it's kind of hard. I have a really good team. I think I might go Mark Andrews though on my team, just considering the value he was
for 2,
essentially. So
he gets some good points.
I mean, you go pick up Mark Andrews out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you have this top 3 tight end week to week. That's a ton of value for your team. So it's either that or the Patriots defense. I don't know. I'm 10-1. Things are going well, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop back in that same league that Perry's talking about. We're in that league together. I would have to say mine is Lamar Jackson again because the value I got.
Crazy. I didn't want him when I accidentally auto drafted him one time, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh hey, I'll take it. All right, keep playing."
I picked him off waivers week 1, so.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Nick Howard, your fantasy MVP.
Mine is the guy I got in the Rumboyz League, CMC. But I do have a lot of studs on that team. I got Evans and Keenan Allen. They both put up 40 pieces twice this year. But yeah, it's CMC, like, just because he is consistent, bringing us strong every week. In other leagues, I do have Cook in another league. Cook and Nick Chubb, actually in 2 leagues.
That's a good deal.
Another guy that not necessarily an MVP, but a guy that, like, I always look every year to steal that, like, guy that's gonna break out and be like a good waiver grab. I grabbed Darren Waller early in the year in one of my leagues, and he's been beastly for me. At least consistent. Like, looking back on it, like, of any of the waiver guys I grabbed, he's been the bang for my buck, like, good pickup.
That's what's up.
But my MVP of the league, though, I'm not totally sold on him yet. It's not because I hate the Ravens, because I do hate the Ravens, the dirty birds, as I call them, or the rat birds, I mean. But I don't know. I'm just not sold yet, man. I think that offense, well, he doesn't have, like, that solid number 1, number 2, like, go through wide receiver. He's got Andrews, and Mark Ingram makes it a little easy. He takes a lot of the pressure off. And I want to see him not run as much and make some throws. And I think he's up there. I think he's top 2. But my 1A is definitely dangerous right now. Like, what he's doing with really, like, no weapons, and, like, the inconsistency of Chris Carson, and just he is shouldering the load right now over there.
Yeah. Russell Wilson would have been the guy when we first had this question on the script here. Russell Wilson was my guy. So
we did see that. I'm sorry for asking it twice. Robbie, fantasy MVP.
My fantasy MVP, I have Chris Carson, like, all over the place. So I got to go with who's been most consistent for me and has done the most for me, and that is Chris Carson. There's never been a week where he's ever let me down. I've never had a matchup or anything where I haven't started him. I've been like, man, I regretted starting Chris Carson this week. So for me, I got to go Chris Carson. Aaron Jones has kind of, like, been there for me. But sometimes, it's like, damn it, Jamal Williams went off this week, So that's a sticky situation. And then obviously, Perry, you mentioned Mark Andrews, bro. Like, you saw me shaking. We're like, damn it. It's absolutely positively has to be Mark Andrews, just for the simple fact that nobody, unless you were probably one of us, like, unless you're someone that you study fantasy football, you're an analyst, so on and so forth, you weren't going into the draft knowing that Mark Andrews was going to come out like the way that he did. Certain things, there's a reason why we're the ones with the podcast, and other people aren't. There's a reason why people come and they ask us. I know that a big portion of this is luck, but I'm sorry. When you're in the off season and all you're going off of is data and analytics, that's not luck there, buddy. That's hard work and studying. So shout out to everyone that called that one correctly. And to everyone that told us that we were all crazy. We told you so.
I did tell you, though, before the season started, that you and Ty were crazy for liking Juju, Dante Moncrief, and Vance McDonald, though.
Hey, man.
No, I liked Vance McDonald. Dante Moncrief, I was like, yeah, I'll admit that one. Juju, I said that you could definitely go and pick him because of the value, but is he going to see the double coverages? He was going to see the double coverages. Was he able to deal with it? Probably wasn't able to deal with it.
Nope.
Yeah, I was big on Vance as well. Moncrief I wasn't, which is why I liked Vance. And I just thought they'd be able to throw the ball, and that hasn't happened.
Oh.
Yeah, I think losing Roethlisberger is big and had a lot to do with that. But even still, I think that would have helped McDonald along a little bit. I still think that Moncrief would have been Moncrief. But I also think that Juju he's not that number one guy. He's got to be that secondary option to get, some soft coverage and some wide openings, maybe some deep throws just on some play action, just wing it up there. But he's got to have another guy that's like really ball control oriented and a possession guy.
I think he's like a good Will Fuller.
Yeah. Juju is the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Robbie. Let's move to basketball, and then we'll come back and do a rapid-fire fantasy question. So, hey, guys, remember, keep asking your fantasy football questions for this week. In the comments, I will keep recording them. I have 3 so far. So
and make sure that they're actually on your team. No more of these crazy ones where it's like, should I start CMC or Zeke? You don't have
over Sean Watson. Like, no.
He said, you don't have to. Yo, I love Justin. He said, you don't have that. Get out of here with this shit.
I think they were playing daily, though.
And, guys, also remember to go to Clock Management's Fantasy Football channel, subscribe, and leave a comment on their latest video to be entered to win an autographed DeAndre Hopkins jersey. I'm going to have to do that, too. And you guys gotta get in on that for sure. All right, Robbie, let's move on to the next question. Basketball question. You guys ready? All right. Melo has played for the Portland Trailblazers 2 games. He's back in the NBA after a year absence. Both were losses, and they weren't his fault necessarily. I've done 2 breakdowns for each game. What are you seeing from Melo? Is he worth the Blazers signing going forward? Keep in mind, Lillard has been out.
Just give me 1 second. Hang on.
Oh, sure.
So with Carmelo, I don't want to say it's too early for me to sit back and be like, oh, you know, it wasn't worth the signing for Melo. Give him some time. Now, also, I have to agree with your full breakdown this morning. I'm not going to go fully into it because guess what? I want you all to go to Rumboyz Central and make sure that you check it out. But he is right. He does play old school ball. He is not up to par, up to standards. There shouldn't be much rust if you were working out every day, but maybe there is some because, you know, I'm working out against NBA caliber.
The top tier.
Yes, I am. All right, Nick Howard, go.
All right, Nick Howard, take it away, my friend. Is Melo worth a longer signing? He has an unguaranteed deal for I think it's 10 days, 3 games. 4.
I would sign him for the rest of the year and see what he's got left. I talked about this in
Pau Gasol.
What's that?
Sorry, they cut Pau Gasol in order to make room for him. So
yeah, I think Paul's he's about done. He's another one that should go see what the Big 3 has to offer for him. But
I like it.
Plug Big 3 again. I know you do Big 3 coverage too. But like I said in your chat earlier, man, I think if he stops with the ISO BS and just becomes a catch and shoot guy, he's still got one of the smoothest jumpers in the league, man. And he has the strength to eat in the post if he's against the right guy. I was dying laughing because I thought the same thing when he backed up fucking Giannis. He just took the ball in a half a second. He hit him with 2 shoulders, and he didn't even budge. And just what are you going to do, man? That's the wrong guy to be trying to do that against. But he does have the strength. He does have the skill and the touch to eat in the low post and the mid post turnaround game. But he needs to become a catch and shoot guy. He needs to be a complementary piece. He needs to be the second or the best bench scoring option. Just come in there, play 15 minutes, give him 12, give him 15, give him 20 points, shoot up 8-10 shots. Hopefully you make 6. Just get out there.
His 3-pointer's wet. It's everything else he's doing that's shitty.
Yeah. I don't know. I know he loves that mid-range game, but it's
so bad.
He's got to make it in the post or make it from 3. He needs to chill with that. And even backing people down in the high post or from the mid range, no, man, get situated and then put your arm up for the pass when you're in deep, and you have a bunny and you just got to hit a guy with a little move or just strength him out. But I do think he'll be a good little piece for him if he becomes that off the bench option and he he becomes a catch and shoot guy, and he just plays ball. He buys into a team and a system and works it all out. But I like how good shape he's in. He's been out of basketball for a year and he still looks good.
He's still athletic. I'll give him that. He's the only thing is, his strength is. What do you think about it, Perry?
So last week I wasn't happy about the signing. I didn't think it was going to help him out all that much. And considering they lost the first 2 games with him, maybe I'm right. But I totally agree with Nick. If he just sits out there, plays, I think he's playing too many minutes, to be honest with you. But if he plays like max 20 minutes a game, strokes the 3, and if he gets a mismatch, takes it down to the post, that's great. That's exactly what they need from him. They do not need him to try and run the offense, ISO. He doesn't need to post anybody up at the high post. That makes no sense whatsoever. So
agreed.
I don't think it's working out, and I wouldn't sign him long term because I think you could get this out of a younger guy that isn't so much of a liability on defense.
You should have seen him against Wesley Matthews. I mean, and Hayes, Jackson Hayes. He looks weak. He looks old.
Oh yeah, I watched. Yeah, no, he looks old.
Getting bodied over here. I like what Slap Yourself is saying. By the way, Jim, I wrote down both of your questions. So those are added to the rapid fire. Slap Yourself says Paul Gasol needs to sit down and enjoy life with Kobe. And then he also says Melo's playing again because Lala's taking that money. You got an opinion on this one, Justin? On for Carmelo Anthony?
I don't cover basketball, but Jim did have 3 questions on there. Just
did he?
Yeah, he had Darnold or Mayfield before those other 2.
Oh, thank you. We got that one too.
All righty,
found it.
What are we on now?
Well, I'm going to, since Justin's probably just waiting for the fantasy rundown, which we'll get to that pretty soon here. Let's get the next basketball question in here for Perry. Let's see here. I just got Jim's questions. We got 3 rapid fire questions so far. So thank you guys for giving us those awesome questions. And okay, James Harden is almost averaging 40 points a game. Is it possible for someone to do that, Perry?
Is it possible? Yes.
82 games.
Is it possible?
Will he do it?
Absolutely, it is possible. Will he do it? I don't think he will. I just don't think he will. I don't think it's good for the Rockets for him to average 40 points a game personally.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I'm not a huge James Harden fan, to be honest with you. I don't think that he should be shooting as much as he is. But is it possible? Yeah, he could do it. I don't think he should, though.
Good take. I like that. Rate those takes in the comments below. Give us your fantasy questions. Nick Howard, is it feasible? Is it possible? Should the Rockets keep riding Harden like this? Can he do it?
He can do it, but I totally agree with Perry, man. I don't like it. It's not the type of basketball I like. Basketball is my favorite sport. I feel like I'm like into that game more than any other, but and scaled with it than most other ones. I just don't like it. I don't like the efficiency. I think it affects the team. It affects like the balance of just scoring, possession, and just movement. Yeah, I understand, taking a shot, like not setting up for an open shot and taking it 3 seconds in the shot clock, but just I don't know. I don't like that, man. I would be so annoyed playing with a guy like that. Like I'm running up and down the court and you're just up chucking and I got to get back all the time. He gives no time to set up. I would rather have the James Harden that you saw in his first 2 years at OKC. The 3-and-D, he actually played defense then. I would like to see him score like 22 a game, still get his assists, and actually build an offense. Because then when he's not hitting and he's not scoring, you know who you can rely on the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
Ooh, Kemba Walker neck injury. That's not good.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up when we talked about the Celtics. He was just stretchered off the court. Looked pretty bad. He ran into his player with the crown of his head and just collapsed. Does not look good.
Ooh.
Well, prayers up for Kemba Walker. That is bad news. Really, really bad news.
He was doing great too.
If you are into that type of stuff, the injury clip is on the Rumboyz Twitter at Rumboyz, spelled the ZNET.
Thanks for that, Robbie. Man, that's not good news. Robbie, what do you think about James Harden's 40-point success, or should we just shift the focus to that right now?
No, I'll give my Harden take, and then we can definitely shift my focus or shift our focus there. Holy fuck. The clip is like playing. It just played in my lap and like looped like a couple of times, like an old school Vine. And I was just like, oh my god.
Look at it.
I'm about to look.
So in regards to Harden, do I absolutely think that he can do it? Yes. Like you mentioned in your breakdown this morning, which I do encourage, and I implore you all to go and check that out if you hadn't, on the JD show. He's efficient, or he's hitting it at a clip, and he's getting as many fouls, and he's just exploited this loophole in the NBA until they change the rules. Let me put it to you like this, okay? Old school NFL terms. You guys know I'm an NFL guy, mainly. All right. In the NFL, there used to not be bump and cover, or there was no bump and coverage for wide receivers. Wide receivers used to get, jammed up immediately right there. There was no 5-yard type of, cushion. There was no, only within 5 yards can the corner bump you, and then you're able to go. You're free to go. Until that rule was changed, because of a player by the name of Mel Blount, who had exploited that rule, and he became so good at jamming wide receivers at the line, for years and years, he had dominated because that was his way of exploiting. Okay, this is not ineffective yet. I can knock off your timing all at any given moment whenever I want to. You guys don't believe me? Go back and check out his film. If you look up the bump and coverage rule, it is actually known as the Mel Blount rule. Now, with that being said and with that being stated, until there is a rule in regards to, an offensive player possession of the ball, kicking out their feet, and then that being of what sends them to the line to get a foul, or, until there's a rule stating, hey, that's an intentional, you tried to set that bucket foul up, you're a douche for that, then this is what it is, and this is the NBA of which we live in. I don't want to sit back and say that it's not efficient. I mean, it's not going to win championships, but I mean, are you going to get in playoffs? Yeah. Are you always going to be relevant? Yeah. Are you always going to be in MVP conversations? Yeah.
I was going to add, I mean, beyond the 40-point thing, the Rockets don't want this because they're not going to win in the playoffs. Right, they might win the first round, but they're not going to make it to the NBA Finals with James Harden putting up 40 points a game. If you watch that Denver game last night, it was clear that Denver knew exactly how to play against James Harden. And any team in a series is going to figure it out real quick, especially a playoff team, and take James Harden away just like they've done. It's happened the last 3 years. So, yeah.
And too, like I said, you're not going to know who you have in an option outside of him and Westbrook. If you don't get other guys touching what they could do. Yeah. And two, I kind of don't like it. Another point I forgot to make. My bad. Real quick is that I wish he went back to that 3-and-D, like playing even though he really wasn't great on defense, he tried. He put in effort. He got quite a few steals. Now it seems like he does not play D. He conserves all of his energy for offense, like all of it, just to make explosive plays and to go on runs and to just take all those shots. But I don't like it. To me, it's kind of like the combination of the amount of shots, the inefficiency, and all the free throw opportunities. I kind of view his points as ill-gotten gains, in my personal opinion.
Update on Kemba Walker. When he was being carted off, his eyes were open and he was blinking, still waiting on the official medical update. Scary sight. Yeah. I agree with you guys about the rules too. Until they change the rules, James Harden's just, taking advantage. Yeah. But our thoughts are definitely with Kemba Walker. We could talk about his impact actually so far on this team. They're one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. What have you seen with them, Perry?
I like what I've seen a lot. I know we kind of already are planning on talking about Kyrie a bit, but I think what Kemba especially has brought to that team is he's not there to be the guy. And I think that was a mistake they made bringing in Kyrie. He's there to be a piece on a team that was already successful and already had the pieces there. So as long as he's healthy, I hope he's healthy, because the Celtics look like a monster team in the East, especially they've got Jason Tatum playing like Jason Tatum 2 years ago rather than last year, when he was trying to play like second fiddle to Kyrie for some reason. I don't know why. So I like the Celtics, and I like the Celtics with Kemba healthy.
All right, Nick Howard, my guy. What do you think about the Celtics team with Kemba? And we'll get into the Kyrie stuff right after this.
Yeah. I think they look good. To just touch on it, I didn't like trading away Kyrie because I'm a Cavs fan. But I kind of like see him for what he is. He's kind of like I'm gonna be real about it. He's a playground player. He's kind of a ball dominant guard, and what they're doing over there in Boston, running that like motion offense, like getting people open, getting open shots, it doesn't lend well to him. It lends really well to a guy like Kemba, because if there's not that open kick out option, he just drives in and tries to get an easy bucket, or he'll once in a while get an ISO, work off a pick, high ball screen, and try to get a three off. But like Kyrie was just ISO, dribble. I'm going to try to take this mid-range shot over you, or I'm going to just drive in and get out of the way everybody else. And there was an occasional kick out, try and make a three real quick before your guy gets over to you. But I just think he works well more efficiently in that motion offense that Stevens runs.
Right on, Robbie. Jay, what do you think about Kemba Walker? And then I have a question about Kyrie.
So first off, in regards to Kemba Walker, my best wishes and prayers to him and a speedy recovery. Second off, with that being stated, I feel extremely bad for this team because they were looking pretty good. They're in a tough position depending on how long this is going to be. Out of this 82 game long season, which we're already, 12 games in, something like that. 10, 12 games in, something like that. So, I mean, with that being said, hopefully he gets back soon to be able to help this team. That's really at the moment all I have to say about it. Seeing that injury completely left field changed my take.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. If you haven't seen it, it is on Rumboyz or at Rumboyz.net on Twitter. My question though, to look back in time on the Celtics a little bit, it wasn't too long ago where Kyrie Irving promised the fans in a big arena stadium saying I will sign if you guys will have me, and then all of a sudden it looked like he kind of ghosted the team. Honestly, I don't even know if the team was that interested in him. Was he the problem? Is he a cancerous player?
To me?
Oh, sorry, Robbie. My bad.
Okay.
Is he a cancerous player? I personally feel that we can't state that because he won a ring, and I get that he won a ring with LeBron, but he still won a ring.
True.
I think that he did not. This is a prime example of when someone joins a big entity and they get frustrated with working with that big entity. And realistically, there's not really any problems, not much problems. Maybe some tension here and there, but I think this is a prime example of you get frustrated with that because you're constantly in the shadow of someone else's success. And before he could learn all the things that could have helped him develop, all the tools to the trade, all the little secrets, how to be a leader, so on and so forth, and really allow himself more time to mature, not only as a player, but as a person, he left LeBron too early. And what we're seeing is that kind of follow him now to where that ghost is chasing him and clamoring at him of it's clear and evident to me that you haven't matured yet. It's clear and evident to me that you can't lead a team yet. You know, and that and where it can become cancerous eventually, if he does not change those behaviors, is that you're perpetrating to be something that you're not. You're perpetrating to be this player that can fulfill a leadership role, and really you're not. And that can become detrimental to an organization.
Justin Jackson says he just got or Jared Allen, excuse me.
I get that. It's all fun and games until losses start coming.
True. Nick Howard, do you think so? You talked about it earlier. You think he was the ISO? Do you think he was the problem essentially? Yeah.
I have a couple of things to say on that. If Kyrie is a cancer, I'm not willing to say yes or no, but there are some things that make me like throw it into question and put it through like my gauge this on a perspective level. I don't like that he wanted to go off from LeBron and do his own thing and see if he could lead a team. I think it backfired on him. I think even this year they've started kind of slow, and it's kind of all on him. I think he cannot wait until KD gets back so he can have another guy another superstar to play off of. Karis LeVert got hurt. Like they're kind of running out of options there. But not a lot of people know with like Kyrie is I wouldn't say it's necessarily him per se that's the cancer. I would say it's a combination of him trying to build a brand, his advisors, his entourage, and most of all, what not a lot of people know about is his father. He's got a very overbearing dad, like very overbearing. Before we drafted him here in Cleveland, there were reports that his dad bought an apartment 3 blocks off of campus at Duke just to keep tabs on him and make sure that he didn't go out and he stayed on his studies. Like his dad is like very involved. Like his dad would go to playgrounds and watch him play like pickup games, like street ball. And he would yell out to him like, run this, play this, do this. He did the same thing in Cleveland. His dad would be at games. I split season tickets with 3 other guys, 2012 and 2015. And that 2012 year, his dad literally was like seen in stands. Like people knew him as like the rah dad that was like screaming on all games. Like his dad's very involved in what decisions he makes and what he does. I think he has a big part to do with him separating and going and wanting to like lead his own team, because I think it was like spoken in his ear like that. And everybody thinks that you're riding LeBron, that LeBron carried you. You just hit a couple of big shots. You got Kevin Love there too. You got a deep bench. Like I think somebody got in his ear. Somebody said, hey, you should work on your brand. You should go to the Mecca. You should go to New York. I think it's a combination of all of that kind of has painted him in a bad light. And he is very expressive in a game. If it's not going well, if other guys aren't scoring well, if he's not scoring well, if he's not getting touches, he becomes very vocal. Like he is a loud locker room voice. And he goes rogue quite often. He's one of those, like, I don't know, like
talk to people sometimes for like days, weeks at a time.
Yeah, he rubs people the wrong way sometimes. He's like a come get some, like I'm gonna always keep it real type, but like I respect it because I'm like that, but like there's a time sometimes you got to realize like the person that you're dealing with, the locker room that you're in, you got to like cool that at some points and pull that out at some points so they take you seriously when you're actually pissed off. And that's what I think the problem is with Kyrie.
Perry, any last thoughts on Kyrie? I think we're going to move on to fantasy questions so Justin can get involved.
Yeah. So I think Kyrie isn't a leader, and I don't think that's like his fault, right? There are guys that are leaders and there are guys that aren't. LeBron James is a leader, right? Kyrie didn't really do anything with Cleveland before LeBron came back. LeBron came back. All of a sudden, they do very well. Kyrie does very well. LeBron does very well. He leaves. All of a sudden, Kyrie's team doesn't do well again. Now he's in Brooklyn. He's not doing well again. I don't think Kevin Durant, honestly, is much of a leader either. I think those guys are both really, really good at basketball, like really good at basketball. But are they leaders in a locker room? I don't think so. And I'm not sure this Brooklyn thing is really going to work out very well, even when KD comes back. So like he should have stayed with LeBron, like you guys have all said, because LeBron led the team, and then Kyrie just got to go play basketball, which is what he's good at. And that's what he should be trying to do right now, is just play basketball and not be the leader on a team. It's just not going to work out for
the Lakers.
Yes.
Started a big three with AD. That would have been good.
They would be the best team in basketball.
I propose an idea like a JD Perry, like Jacoby and Jalen Jacoby type of like fucking setup. Like you two would just be so good. Like God.
Hey, I like it. I'll hit him up.
I'm here. I'm here.
See when he's available. We'll work that out behind the scenes for sure. I want to get Justin involved in this rapid fire. I like the idea.
I do too. Justin, let's do it. Let's do this.
Yeah. Just let me know when you want me to come in. I'm over here running this chat.
He's doing it in the chat. He's collecting all these awesome. We have like 10 rapid fire questions for these
bees in the trap.
Justin can get a little bit of extra time since he missed out, but let's try to keep it like 30 seconds or less for each of these answers. Rapid fire, maybe even 15 seconds. But let's see. The first question: should the Browns be nervous, or should I be nervous starting the Browns with all of the people out, like Myles Garrett?
It's starting the Browns in fantasy as far as like just in general, their players, all of them.
The defense.
Yeah, the defense.
The defense. Not this week because they're playing one of the worst teams in the NFL. But going forward, yes.
Perry, should he start the Browns?
This week, yeah, you should start the Browns, but Justin's right. Without Myles Garrett there, I wouldn't start them past this week.
Nick Yard?
This one's close to me.
Go ahead, Nick. My fault.
Oh, my bad. Yes, I would start them because yes, the Myles Garrett move or loss is a big loss. You will have guys that will step into that role. I think Davari Poe or Davari Lawrence, who's a defensive tackle, who played D-end in college. I think he's going to step in and fill that role. He is a beast. He's a mauler. He's athletic. But they're getting a lot of the people back in the secondary. We're finally getting healthy there. You still have Schobert commanding the defense. I would go with us, especially with how easy the schedule is. You got the Bengals 2 more times. You got the Steelers. You got the Dolphins coming up this week. It's going to be, besides the Ravens game, I would say they're definitely
start. Forecast. Robbie J, you start. Would you be nervous to start them?
Would I be nervous to start them? They're playing the Dolphins. Fuck no.
Right on. All right, I'll stick with you for the next question. Here's a question: is Tim Patrick a dangerous wide receiver 2 going forward in Dynasty?
Let me hop in here just because I know you guys were talking fantasy basketball. Because when I saw this, I was like, "Who?" So I looked him up. No, he's not dangerous. He is a third-year player on his third team in the NFL, and he has a total of 11 catches. That's not dangerous. Sure, in a deep dynasty league, you could stash him. He's on Denver now, and with the Lock maybe coming in next year, he might be able to develop, but he's no one that anyone is targeting. Like, he's not someone where it's like, oh, wow, I can't believe you have Tim Patrick. So, I mean, go ahead and stash him if you believe in him. I'm not advising it, though.
Exactly. No, I'm gonna advise the exact same thing in regards to Tim Patrick. This is one of those classic cases of I just saw a small sample size of a guy. Let me run and go spend my fad budget on him. I hate when people do that. This is a scenario where people are going to do that. Let's just make sure that as long as you listen to clock management and you listen to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network, that we don't have you going out there making dumb mistakes. So don't go and be that guy. Love ya.
All right, let's move on to the next one. I like that. Justin, let's see here. Oh, yeah. Cardinals defense or wait. No, I don't want to answer that. I don't want to ask that one.
That was an actual draft question. Yeah.
Never mind. Well, we'll get into that in like 3 months or so.
Yeah.
So to start Jimmy Graham or Gerald Everett?
Ooh. I was looking at this. I got to go Gerald Everett on this. I mean, tight end is a rough position. So I'm basing this purely off the teams they're playing. And I mean, I can't go against my Niners, right? They got a great defense. So, I mean, honestly, if we're talking about an offensive player going against the Niners, it's not a bad idea to start defenses against the Niners. They normally don't put up much points. And they throw interceptions. But anyway, I can't advise playing Jimmy Graham, who's been inconsistent against the number 2 defense in the NFL.
Harry, thoughts on Jimmy Graham versus Gerald Everett?
I'm going to start Gerald Everett. He's had games with 11 targets, 10 targets, 12 targets. Jimmy Graham he's had a 1 9-target game, but otherwise hasn't broken 5. So Gerald Everett is definitely the play.
I like that. That's a good point. Nick Howard, any other points on Gerald Everett versus Jimmy Graham?
I'm going Gerald Everett. I'm with Justin.
Bobby J.
I'm going Everett as well. I get that you may want to be tempted by Graham because they're playing the Niners. They're gonna have to shoot it out with them. That's not happening. I don't think.
Low score game.
Robbie J, would you start Geis or Royce Freeman?
I'm going with Geis.
Nick Howard.
I'm going Freeman, man. He's gotten some touches in the red zone. He's their guy when they get close. Lindsey does not break tackles, man. He kills you with speed. Freeman is their thumper, give him a handoff, let him just run in there and mow somebody over. I am so low on Darius Geis, man. That dude farts and gets hurt.
Oh, man.
Let me just clarify. I'm low on Geis as well, but I am saying start him this week against the Lions due to the fact that AP is slightly banged up.
We'll get some extra touches. Perry, thoughts on Geis, Freeman?
I'm going to start Freeman just because Geis, I mean, we just preached small sample size, and he's only played 1 game this year.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Justin, going to start Geis?
So, I mean, me and Perry have talked about this many times. Geis has scored me. I can't even count how many times at this point. So I just can't go with them. Like you're saying, he gets injured at a whim. If Adrian Peterson gets injured in his vicinity, he might catch it.
Savage. All right, Justin, Darnold or Mayfield? Who are you starting?
So I love this one. I've actually been telling people that Darnold has great matchups going forward. This is one of them against the Raiders. The ghosts are gone. He's finally seeing clearly. That being said, I'm going with Baker Mayfield because he's playing against Miami. Yeah, he's playing good. I actually like Sam Darnold. He plays good when he has good matchups, but so does Baker Mayfield. And Baker has a great matchup this week. So I got to go with Baker here.
I can see clearly now the ghosts are gone.
Yeah, I'm not going to put my trust in a guy that's saying he's seeing ghosts out there, man. I'm going to start Baker against Miami.
That's scary.
Baker.
That is scary for the Jets. Nick Howard?
I'm going Baker. And even besides the Dolphins, looking at the rest of the year, if that's my team and my 2 quarterbacks are Baker and Darnold, I'm gonna release Darnold and I'm gonna grab somebody maybe like Nick Foles, Jacoby Brissett. So somebody is just like a fill-in guy that I think.
Out on Darnold.
What's that?
You're out on Darnold.
I'm not big on like that offense. Like Robbie Anderson hasn't been what we thought he would be. Like Enunwa, I thought would show some flashes. He really has underperformed. Like Herndon hasn't been able to get healthy and get back and be a solid option. And Le'Veon Bell is just he can't do it all, man. And they're not really like mixing up like passes out of the backfield for him. I think Darnold's just going to continue to see ghosts. He's going to get by on mediocre play. I would go with somebody like boom or bust. Baker has a really easy rest of the year schedule. And I think Nick Foles, like he's he started out comfortable with them. He's back with John DeFilippo, who he won a Super Bowl with. They pass like 65, 70% of the time. I'm going with a guy that's going to just keep chucking it and chucking it and chucking it.
What about Jameis Crowder?
I think he's been good. He's shown some flashes. He's a good.
Freeman says y'all tripping.
You need somebody in a pinch to grab.
Or slap yourself says y'all tripping on Freeman.
Didn't we all choose Freeman?
We all.
No, he
Freeman.
said he
for me.
Oh yeah.
He thinks Geis is the better choice.
He doesn't play fantasy football. It doesn't count. Next question.
Next question. All right. Pull that up for you. Robbie J. Ingram or Carson?
I'm going with Carson, baby.
Carson. All right.
Yeah.
Nick Howard, Ingram, Carson.
That's tough, man. They're like really close. I'd go with the slight edge on Carson, but I have a feeling in picking him, he's gonna fucking fumble because every time I did or going into the year, I was like, dude, this dude's gonna be good this game. This is a good matchup. Fucking a fumble or two in there, couple drop passes, but. What I like about Carson is before the season they talked about mixing him up more in the pass game. I think you're going to continue to see that as the season wraps up. They're gonna go to him as a solid option because you can't just throw up the Lockett every time. But yeah, I'm going with a slight edge Carson.
I'm gonna go with Ingram. Actually, I think the offense is just a little bit better, so I'm gonna play Ingram there. And Chris Carson's gonna fumble the ball one too many times here. Eventually, he's gonna get benched. So. Also, Lakers just won.
Yeah.
Of
course we did.
Yeah.
Do that one.
I'm also kind of a Lakers fan as much as I do follow basketball. Now that we don't have a Sonic team anymore. Back to the question though. I'm sorry. What was the football question? I distracted myself.
It was. Would you rather have
Carson?
I'm going with Ingram. I was down on Ingram at the start of the season. He's proved me wrong. Carson's great too. He's established himself as number one running back. I don't think you're going to be unhappy with either one of these guys, but I got to go with Ingram here. And I believe the question was for rest of season, so based off of that.
We're going to do two more questions, and this next one's from Brandon Rogers, then we'll finish up with the dynasty question. Brandon Rogers asks, do you guys think CJ Anderson gets picked up, I assume just in general, not in fantasy, do you assume he gets picked up by a team?
No? Yeah, no. That ain't even so right in my stomach.
Anyone?
I think he could if there's injury during like playoff teams run. They may pick him up for depth, similar to how who was that? Gurley got injured last season.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll get picked up if there's an injury. He's not going to get picked up.
Yeah, only barring injury. That's it, JD.
Right on. That was weird. I accidentally got booted. But okay. So final question. Let's start with Nick Howard. Then, apart from Alexander Madison, what running back do you see as the most valuable handcuff if your starting running back goes down? Madison looks to be the only one that the scheme wouldn't change. I don't remember who asked that one, but either way.
I've been waiting for this question. Go ahead, Nick.
I like Madison quite a bit. I think if Dalvin Cook wasn't there, he could be your guy. But I know I'm going to take Robbie's because it's a guy that he grabbed. But I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. And
God damn it!
Boom.
There's a couple other guys. Like I've been looking all year. I know Bruce Arians gives it to the hot hand. I could see if either Barber or Rojo gets hurt. I could see the other one knowing that there isn't that guy nipping at his heels, just having a couple of good games and running with it. But I'd say Latavius Murray for sure.
Hell yeah!
Since that's the only handcuff that I'm caring about is Latavius Murray. Even if you don't have even if you do not have Kamara, I wouldn't. Depending on your situation on your team, go ahead and snag him. If there's someone in your league that, to be honest, like you just don't fucking like you're just like, you know what, I don't like this dude, and he has Kamara, and you're not going to be in the playoffs anyways, snag Murray. And then when Kamara gets injured, just be like, haha.
Yeah, so since Nick stole Latavius Murray, I'll throw out Tony Pollard as an option. Not nearly on the level as Alexander Madison or Latavius Murray. But
Got you covered here.
Tony Pollard would be good.
I like it.
Nick, I'll let you go because I'm.
You just went.
Sorry. I got a couple on here. I didn't want to steal anyone's thunder because I was like, when he said Madison was the only, I was like, no. So I made a list in priority list order. So I got Alexander Madison, Austin Eckler, Latavius Murray, Matt Breida, Pollard, Chase Edmonds, and Rashad Penny. All of them are suitable handcuffs if the guy ahead of them goes down.
Not Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds?
Yeah, not Chase Edmonds.
He's just going to get hurt. He's just going to get hurt.
It's a King show now.
While he's healthy, he's going to put up numbers, though. He can hold, like, he'll be able to win you a game if he's...
That'll be a really good week.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you move on to the next one on the list, which is Rashad Penny.
Yeah, definitely Rashad Penny.
Justin.
Made the show awesome. Cheers. There you go. We appreciate all the questions you had for us, Jim. Made the show awesome for us. Robbie, finish up the take for us and lay us out, buddy.
So wait, I already gave mine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much.
Yeah, I pretty much gave mine. I mean, aside from that, I mean, there's nobody else. I mean, I guess what if somehow, God forbid, it ever happens, CMC goes down. I mean, Bouchon.
Don't even fucking say it.
He's always fresh.
Dude, I know, but like, I mean, there's outside of those situations, like I don't even want to talk about those situations. Like I have CMC, Nick. Like that paid me to even talk about.
You know,
everyone hit it right on the head. So with that being said, with that being stated, we're gonna go around the horn. Starting with Justin and Perry. Fellas, let them know where they can find you guys on social media. Let them know what you got going on your channel, what's coming up next, so on and so forth. Take it away.
Ooh, okay. So you guys can find us on Twitter at Management Clock. You can find us on Instagram at Clock Management, on Facebook at Clock Management. We're on everywhere where you can find a podcast. We're obviously on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment so you can be entered to win a DeAndre Hopkins jersey. During the fantasy playoffs, we're also going to be giving away a Mark Ingram jersey, and I got another surprise coming. So make sure you subscribe so you can stay up with that stuff.
Yeah, I like what he said. We'll go with that.
You guys got to subscribe.
Yeah. Nick Howard.
All right, first, before I say anything, motherfucker, knock on wood, because I swear to God, if CMC gets hurt, I'm coming up there and I'm fucking putting you in a heel hook.
I hope he doesn't. He'll be angry about it. What do you got going on this week, Nick?
Because me or Crazy Mofo is winning the Rumboyz Fantasy League. That fucking pissed me off a little bit.
I got screwed last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys can find me. You guys can find me here. I'm always kicking it with the Rum fam and hanging out. You guys know I don't really do much with social media. But as far as like my channel goes, like I said, I filmed my like memorabilia, my man room reveal. Just like trying to like mix it up and get my bearings with like editing and like spicing it up a little bit, making an intro because me and technology don't really get along and I'm a goofy fuck. It kind of like takes a minute to figure that shit out. But I got my pick'ems coming out tomorrow. I might do a little bit on the Myles Garrett story. Yeah, that's what I got going on tomorrow.
Oh yeah, JD Rumboyz Central. What you got popping off, bro?
Shoot, I'm excited about all clock management stuff and Nick's stuff and everything we got going on. But I got a new show called JD Rants, and it's just me ranting for an hour in the morning. So turn on the bell for all of these channels. It'll be mornings, not every morning, but it'll be in the mornings.
It'll be
My bad, man.
I know.
I got a phone call, from a work call from a client when I was when you were wrapping your stream up, man. But I forgot to say, man, great stream, man. You were coming with some
hanging out.
good takes. So,
I'll be grabbing a cup of coffee and watching in the morning. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's good as hell. It's
I'm
good.
gonna be downloading you guys' podcast. I already subscribed and everything. I'm excited for all the. We got so much awesome content. Robbie J, what do you got going on this week, buddy?
So you guys know I'm gonna be on the field tomorrow doing my damn thing. I'm gonna go celebrate Ty's going away tonight. Be on the lookout for NFL Rum Zone. I'm going to try and chalk it up to see how we can work out doing a fantasy football in the AM show with you guys. I want to definitely make sure that I get that done. Next Saturday, the one, the only Nikki Snacks from Big Dogs Gotta Eat from BDGE, Fade the Public Podcast is going to be on with myself, and we're going to be talking
You gotta get me on there.
Justin, we gonna talk. Kind of already thought. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for all that promotional material dropping. Do not forget to go and get merch. Go get a shirt. Support us in real life. Support your favorite podcast. The Clock Management Collection will be dropping on rumboyz.com. We are going to be getting those designs done soon, before Black Friday, so that you guys can go and support Clock Management at your Christmas sweater party, at your, everything. Yeah. And what's great is when you guys support them, it goes right back to them.
And that allows us to do more jersey giveaways and things of that nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I just want to say I thank you all for coming out and showing love to the show. I want to appreciate the most hardest working, amazing fucking staff in the whole entire independent sports podcasting community. Thank you, fellas. It's a pleasure to work with you guys. Other than
Thanks
that,
for our audience too, man.
Cheers.
Hey, yeah, y'all ready to do this?
Yeah.
Almost. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. All the Rum Boys and girls want to do.
Really do. Best audience in the whole world. You guys made it hilarious. Seriously. So funny.